Most academic settings are very elitist, and people really believe that when they're allowed to be here, that they're the smartest and they're the best. And these institutions have been historically white, and it doesn't matter how much education you have if you're a white person and you've been and you have grown up in a white society, a society that is not only white but white supremacist, then you are raised to think that you're better than any black person.
You wouldn't expect to see that on a college campus where we're all supposed to be here learning, and we're supposed to be the smart people in society. So when you end up in a faculty meeting and you hear people saying stuff that's really stupid and ignorant, it's shocking.
It is important to have that voice of diversity, so people can see it's not just business as usual, and there are other things to take into account.
There were times in my early career where I couldn't really put my finger on what was actually happening, but then when I look back on it, I realized that I was experiencing, racism.
It can be very difficult to figure out, is somebody really like a hardcore racist, or are they just somebody who has been privileged to not have to deal with some of the situations that I've had to deal with and that other people have had to deal with, which then makes them, it doesn't make them bad people, it just makes them, ignorant to the situation for which, they're attempting to evaluate.
I had the experience of having to be on a small committee with white males, and I was the only black woman in there. And it was really a horrible feeling. It was clear that they didn't want me in there. They didn't want to have to talk to me. They didn't want my input.
And I remember we'd be walking across campus and people would refer to Dr. Miller, Dr. Wilbur, and Miss Watson. And I couldn't help thinking that this had to do with that intersectionality, of who I was, my three identities. Firstly, I was black. Secondly, I was a woman. And the third intersectionality, which I don't always acknowledge, but it is that I was an immigrant.
I remember there was one incident where somebody, we were doing like a trivia, and it was trivia about each faculty member, and the one fact trivia about me was that I liked rap music. And I just kind of was taken back by that, because I'm like, all right, there's 100 other things about me that have actually to do with video and film and everything else that you can get to before you get to the point that I like rap music. So again, one of those situations where you're trying to figure out, was this a deliberate attempt at trying to disrespect me? Or was this just somebody who just believes that all black people love rap music and that we want to be just all about rap music and breakfast, lunch, and dinner? So he's not going to have a problem with it because he's black.
The truth of the matter is that on this campus, historically, black faculty can have experiences of feeling marginalized and of actually being marginalized.
One of my colleagues commented, "Oh, this person did well in class and she's black." And my response at that time as a junior professor, I didn't know what to say or do, but I was pretty offended.
Yes, some of the things that happen to me are very, very frustrating, but I wouldn't even be in this place here working with these opportunities and the wealth of connections and the money I've made and everything like that. I would not be here in this situation had it not been for my elders who persevered, who pushed through some of the nonsense and everything else so that I could have this opportunity here.
You get thrown into this situation and you just sink or swim. And that really isn't right. That's not fair to faculty.
Minorities in general, you go through your whole life understanding that you're a minority and that the majority of the people in America are white and they don't look like you. And so you understand that the systemic racism that has been involved in America since before it was even America, that is firmly ingrained in the system.
There have been times when I think people have dismissed it as, here goes that black angry person again. I've wondered if that's, because I can't say for sure if that's how it's been. So rather than saying that I toned down my voice, I just stopped talking.
The one thing that I do not like is when people say I'm intimidating, because I feel like there's a racial undertone to that. Calling a black man intimidating, I find that it's a problem, because it sounds like the same old thing. Black man get pulled over by the police. He looks intimidating. He looks this way. Ain't broke no laws whatsoever, but he looks this way.
There were many years when I just felt very insecure as a faculty member because I didn't really have the kind of support that I needed.
People in this country for a long time, and in certain places in the country, were denied a proper education. Black people, brown people, you know what I'm saying, Native Americans were denied a proper education in this country.
There is a need to mentor black students and help them to ensure that they understand that my expectations for them are no less than my expectation for my white students.
The opportunity to get an education as a minority in this country, you gotta give it your all, man. And you cannot take advantage, and you certainly do not, you wanna take advantage of it, period, even if you, no matter who your teacher is. But when you have a black teacher in front of you who knows everything that you're gonna have to deal with, who's in a lot of ways paved the way for you to be able to go further in your career and in life by virtue of the struggle that they had to endure, you gotta take advantage of that. We talked about it. When you're black faculty on a predominantly white university, white campus, you want to see your people do well. You can't help it. It doesn't mean that you don't want everyone to do well.
Whether students know it or not, whether black students know it or not, it can make a very big difference to them when they see black faculty. Some of them, I think, don't always understand that. But what does it say to a student when you're going to school every single day and you don't see any people who look like you?
With my students, one of the things that has been like an important point for me is helping our students understand the importance that they too can be doctors, because there are black doctors out there, black PhDs.
So it's important that they know, yes, a black person can earn a PhD. Yes, we are just as intelligent as their white teachers. Yes, we care about them. Yes, we're doing the same kind of work, the same kind of intellectual work that their white professors are doing.